Welcome to my exemplar wheel presentation for my trial, Registered Now. So there is a significant shortage of organs available for transplant, and despite strong public support for organ donation, actual registration rates remain low. In Ontario, only 35% of eligible individuals are registered, even though knowing a loved one's wishes can dramatically increase the likelihood of family consent. Family physician offices, where most Canadians visit at least once a year, offer a unique opportunity to promote organ donation registration, and therefore the study aimed to explore whether intervention in these family physician offices could increase the number of patients registering for organ donation. For the trial design, in brief, we conducted a 14-week study in 6 family physician offices in southwestern Ontario to see if an intervention could encourage more people to register as organ donors. To test this, we used this design called Stepped Wedge Trial, where the intervention was gradually introduced to each clinic over time. This design was chosen because it allowed all the participating doctors to eventually receive the intervention, which made them more likely to agree to participate in the study. It was a cluster trial because we randomized family physician offices, and it was a registry-based trial because we used administrative databases to assess our primary outcome of organ donor registration. To inform the development of our intervention, we identified theory-based barriers enablers to organ donation registration under the guidance of Dr. Justin Persaud, who is a health psychologist and expert in this area. In brief, after interviews with patients and discussions with office staff, we came up with an intervention where reception staff would check the back of patients' health cards, and if they were not an organ donor, they would direct them to a pamphlet for more information on organ and tissue donation, which would address common myths to organ donation. If appropriate, they would also be directed to an iPad where they can sign up. To ensure our intervention was delivered consistently across all family practices, we conducted setup meetings with physicians and staff at each site. We explained the intervention, clarified roles, and tailored materials to each practice. Following this, we held a 1-hour in-person training session with reception staff focusing on how to deliver the intervention, check the patient's donor registration status, and use the provided materials. We maintained regular contact with the clinics throughout this trial to address any issues and ensure everything ran smoothly. Each participating staff member received a $50 honorarium upon completing the trial. In terms of the stats, we were very fortunate to have the expertise of Dr. Stephanie Dixon of ICES and Dr. Monica Talliard of U Ottawa to help with the design and analysis of this trial. We compared the characteristics of patients and sites in both the control and intervention groups using descriptive statistics. Our analysis followed an intention to treat approach, meaning we analyzed everyone based on the original group assignment, regardless of what happened during the study. To understand the effects of our intervention, we used a statistical analysis called mixed effects regression, which allowed us to account for differences between both the within and between family physician offices over time. We also made adjustments to prevent possible errors due to the small number of groups in the study. We reported the impact of our intervention as an absolute difference, along with the 95% confidence intervals, and we adjusted our analysis for factors like age, sex, and income, which are known to influence organ donor registration. All analyses were done using SAS, and we considered results statistically significant if they met the standard 5% threshold. Since Pragmatic and cluster trials are a relatively new concept, there were a number of ethics considerations for this project. In a typical randomized controlled trial, you would recruit a participant by describing your study to them and obtaining their informed consent to participate into your study. However, given the cluster and pragmatic characteristics of the study, I had to request an alteration of individual patient consent. Specifically, we asked for a waiver of informed consent. We obtained a waiver of consent for study intervention because our study had none to minimal risk to patients. Patients are routinely provided organ and tissue donation materials in other settings, such as shopping malls or sporting events. We requested a waiver of consent for data collection because we weren't actually collecting any data from the patients directly. Everything was done by analyzing the administrative databases where the patient information are encoded and researchers are able to access the data in a privacy-compliant manner. Instead, we requested consent from the individual physicians so that we could link their data to ICES to identify patients who visit their clinic during the course of the study. All 25 physicians gave their informed consent for us to link their data. So we did have some concerns from the ethics committee For example, they wanted us to get the reception staff to give every patient a pamphlet on organ and tissue donation because they feared that we were singling out participants. We had to make the case to them that this intervention would not be possible if we had to ask the reception staff to give out a pamphlet to everyone, as this would significantly increase their workload. With respect to trial materials, we had pamphlets designed to address previously identified barriers and enablers to organ donor registration, internet-enabled tablets, and training material for office staff. We involved 5 members of the public in every part of our research, from the initial grant application to the final stage of the project. These citizen panel members played a crucial role in designing our intervention, especially in developing a pamphlet that was handed out to patients at the check-in. The pamphlet was designed to address common barriers to organ donor registration and included personal stories from our citizen panel members who had received transplant themselves. It also provided clear step-by-step instructions on how to register and encouraged them to confirm their decision. Our citizen partners shared their own experiences with visiting family physicians, which helped us anticipate and address any potential challenges in delivering the intervention. They also reviewed and provided feedback on our final manuscripts. We also partnered with Ontario's organ procurement organization, Trillium Gift of Life Network, who provided feedback throughout every stage of the project, and one member even participated as a co-author in the manuscript. We recognize the importance of Indigenous rights and data sovereignty. We also acknowledge that Indigenous people in Canada are disproportionately affected by comorbidities that may increase the need for organ transplants. In terms of quality control, we contacted offices every week until the end of the trial to promote ongoing fidelity of delivery, reminding them and resolving any emerging issues. Problems that we suspected included technical issues such as the tablet not functioning or running out of pamphlets. For data, we obtained baseline and outcome information from multiple linked healthcare administrative databases housed at ICES. Perhaps unique to the study is that we brought in a study-specific dataset consisting of our list of family physicians consenting to participate in order to reliably determine which patients visited the recruited family physicians and their visit dates. We used a number of databases from ICS to obtain personal demographics and health characteristics. We also used the OHIP database and physician billing records to the government to establish a timestamp of the date of patient visits and Ontario's organ donor registry to obtain our outcome measurement of organ donor registration status. In terms of inclusion, diversity, equity, the 6 family physician offices we included were large medical offices seeing a diverse group of patients. And finally, for financing and resource, this trial was funded by a CIHR Innovative Clinical Trials Grant, and I believe the cost was about $100K. We had one research assistant doing a lot of heavy lifting of the trial and doing the day-to-day task. Thank you.